Alright guys, hello. So, new video. This one's going to be about regrets and things I have done wrong. Wish I had done better while living overseas. So, usually my channel is about giving advice, helping people navigate this maze of living overseas, traveling overseas. But yeah, let's go over a few things that I've done wrong, things that are hard for me, things that will be hard for you, and just kind of just dwell in this topic and see where it leads us. Okay, I never script my conversations. I just like to have natural dialogue. I like for you just to be sitting across the screen as if we're talking over a coffee. All right, so if I had to say a couple of the things that I've done wrong, number one would definitely be my disconnect with people. Now I know you could probably, you can make an easy assumption about that. You can, just by, do you ever see any friends in any of my YouTube videos? Do you ever see anybody besides me in my YouTube videos? No. So you could take that for what you will. I will say this though. It doesn't matter if you're introvert or extroverted, okay? If you go to a different country, doesn't matter what problems you're dealing with, okay? If you're in a different country, what is the point if you don't at least try to, I'm not gonna say make friends, but like just be among people of of the new culture. um, Start out small. Start out, just sit at a cafe and just listen to the Vietnamese, or listen to the Thai, or listen to the Cambodian, or um, the Korean, or wherever you go to in Southeast Asia. Right? Just immerse yourself in the culture, be around people, um, and then if you do get those invites, it's usually through work. Hey, people are getting together for coffee. Would you like to go? If you don't speak the language, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to want to go. But in hindsight, there is, now that I look back, I could have used that as a way to study people. I could have seen how conversations are, the mannerisms, uh, the thing about Vietnamese, the language is that the different pitch. For example, like when I speak English, my voice is very lower, it's calm. You speak Vietnamese, it's very higher and it's very louder, which almost sounds like you're angry. So there'll be a lot of times I'll hear people speaking Vietnamese and I'll think that they're upset. That's just how it's spoken. Um, Depending on the dialect and location of Vietnam. But yeah, you can learn a lot just by mannerisms. Like, what do people do? Do they eat sunflower seeds? What games do they play? For example, there's a game here. It's these little horses, and you roll the dice, and the horses have to like jump over each other, and they go back into jail if you land on one. Never seen the game before. Also, there's Chinese checkers or different form of checkers. I'm not sure the proper name of it. Um, it's like chess, but the Asian, what Eastern version of it. So music, another thing too. What kind of music plays in the background? I mean, there's so much knowledge that you could gain from just. You don't even have to talk. Just observe. Just observe. So that is one thing that I failed at miserably when I came here. And a big part of it too, you got to keep in mind, was when I came here was right in the heart of the cough, 2021, the beginning, the first month of 2021. I'm coming here, so everything was quarantined for years. Everything was online. I mean, not only was I in a different country where I didn't speak a different language, everybody was so scared of each other. Everything was just locked down. So it took years, for people to finally start, the world to wake up. And not only that, by then everybody was so used to just being disconnected. So, but anyways, yeah, I wish I had immersed myself more. Um, Now I've been here for so long. I, you know, I'm always watching. I'm always studying. I'm always looking at people. You know, people watching is something that it's just, yeah, it's. I make it a rule to stay off my phone as much as possible, except for making a YouTube video, obviously. But yeah, I really do believe that phones dumb you down. They distract you. They hurt your relationships. They hurt your intelligence. They hurt your capability for, to logically think. They play off your emotions, off your desires, your base needs. This things that, yeah, that's there's very smart people who know, social programming and how to manipulate and how to change cultures of people through the media that you consume. So I try to stay off of it. And since I've been off my phone, I don't have TikTok, I don't do Instagrams, I don't do any of those uh, uh, social medias besides YouTube. And that life's good. The only thing is, I just don't know when it's people's birthdays. So, all right, moving on. Next thing, I started out when I first came to overseas, journaling every single day. I've always been a somebody who journals every single day, written. Um, Once I did YouTube, I kind of slowed down on my written journals because I thought it was kind of redundant. Why write if I'm just gonna say the same words or if it's gonna be similar? But there is something that is, I think that it's important to put uh, the written word holds more power than just a video. Some digital video that could be wiped out by some EMP blast, or you spill coffee, or the cloud gets corrupted, or whatever, your account gets hacked. Just the written, just the art of just writing is something that is being replaced by these chat these AI programs now. Writing is something that I'm very proud of. That I am a good writer. What constitutes a good writer is not your ability to know, like, okay, you put your comma in the perfect place. It's your ability to paint a picture, to express your ideas, and to convey those ideas to your reader. So if you're telling a story, if you're giving a message, if you're writing a thesis, whatever, you're how creative are you? How precise are you? How can you adapt? How flexible are you? What is your range? What is your you get the point. I don't need to go on with that. So yeah, I kind of slowed down on the written journal. I still have them though. I keep a medical log of certain like I have really bad migraines. I've had them for a while, 20 something years since a part of my life. Um, yeah, very debilitating, and yeah, I keep track of that, and among other things, health things. And as I've gotten older, I make it a point to, in written form, keep track of that because I do believe at some point that might be important if something was to happen to me, to be able to show a doctor, look, this is the pattern of what happened. I was noticing that I was having this happen, you know, on a weekly basis, or this was happening, twice a month, or this was happening, for 2 hours a day, whatever. And not only that, also it gives you a way to, to some introspection, to look inward. So introspection, look inward. Um, I feel like that's lost as you YouTube, as you speak in video. You're not looking inward as so much as you're pouring out what's inward out onto to be consumed by you who's watching this video. Now my journals, if you could, here I'll give you a quick tour of just a few of them. I mean, I didn't bring all of them, but you see here I got just years of writing, years of writing. This one right here is, so if I die, this one right here is the very special one. So, but yeah, hold on. Let me, I don't know. So yeah, I think that journaling will keeps your mind smart, and also it can be helpful for keeping the art of writing, and also for health, and also it's something to pass on. It's something to pass on, and that's something that I've realized lately about my life. I have a lot. So recently I purchased a few new books. Okay, I'm a big um, Warhammer fan. Warhammer 40K, Warhammer Fantasy. It's a fantasy based world. Okay, it's a book series. It's like Lord of the Rings. Not these really famous novels that there's probably hundreds of them. Um, Seriously, through different authors. They go back all the way 60s, the 70s. I'm not sure, but they released collections, in threes. Back before I came to Vietnam, they were releasing a limited edition omnibus. So an omnibus is a trilogy. So of each of the different stories they put into one book. And I recently got my hands on one that I've been wanting for a while, and I had to pay a pretty expensive price for a book that's been out of stock since 2018, that nobody wants to sell, that's in near perfect condition. But, it's like you look at your book collection, and anybody here who's a book lover will know that when you're missing a book, it's like missing a tooth. You're just like you just want to fix it. Like I don't imagine if this tooth right here just fell out, or it's like missing a finger. It's like that's not very good. It's like it's just like missing. It just bothers you. Okay, it takes you. It's you don't see the 100 books that you might have collected throughout your whole life, the 200 books, the 500 books, the the story. Each of those books has a story about how you acquired them, when read them. Maybe they were passed on to you as a gift. Maybe each. So I have a rule: whenever I give a book, you never give it back to me. You never borrow a book. You give a book, and if you do, you always write a message on it. So if somebody gives me a book, I always request if they'll please write a message. Just something on the cover, and just put the date. So a book is a story in itself, and yeah. So when I'm missing just a few, it's an unfinished love affair. It's something that I'm proud of, and I recently got my hands on one that is I'm very proud. The irony of it is that it's on the other side of the world. So if anybody's wondering, it's the Vampire Ascendant by Nathan Long. So Nathan Long, Vampire Ascendant trilogy. Okay, so 3 different books in it. Warhammer Fantasy. So it's Warhammer Chronicles. Comes in the gray cover, and yeah, the price was pretty expensive. It was insane. Probably one of the more expensive books that, yeah, but years of waiting for somebody to sell it. Finally had a chance to do it. Um, I just did it. Yeah. The irony is that it's on the other side of the world, so I can't read it. I don't dare ship it over here overseas. Um, I can't risk it. So I have, and that leads me to another thing, which is my life. I have lived my life unapologetically the way that I want. And whenever I meet somebody, be it a girl that I'm interested in, be it you know just anybody. I would say if I had friends, but I don't. I have one friend, on the other side of the world. But say I met a girl. I am at that age, and I'm at that point in my life where I just don't have time, or the health, or the mental clarity, or the strength to have both my heart broken or to break somebody else's heart. So I'm just very upfront about This is what I want. This is who I am. I make no apologies for it. I know exactly what I am, who I am. And I think there are some good qualities in that. You know, to travel to the other side of the world requires you to be selfish, and it requires you to be able. You have to be able to step over somebody's burning corpse to get to cross the bridge, to cross the lava. If you want to achieve a dream, you have to ask yourself: would you step over the guy in front of you like in Squid Game to get there? Would you do what it takes? I did. Um, but at the end of my life, it puts you in the situation where, like, okay, you play now. Do you suffer later? Do you suffer now? Do you play later? The age-old question, right? When do you enjoy life? In your youth, at your age, or do you just never enjoy it? I'm never gonna say that I've enjoyed life per se, but I'm always gonna say that I've pushed myself to just never be average. I've always tried to at least search for a higher purpose, higher meaning, and as arrogant and as cliche as that sounds, I wanted to be Bruce Wayne. I wanted to be the real life Batman who would travel the world and learn all these things and do all these things that people just seem to think it's impossible, but it's not. You don't have to just live this life of of, I don't want to go on. That's a different video. Okay, my point being is this. Look, when my day comes, I'm gonna have a lot of cool things. All right, my books, for example. Who does it go to? Who would value that? Who, some of my most prized possessions? Who would value it? Who do I give that to? Who even reads books nowadays? These younger generations, they just TikTok or just read on Kindles. So, like, to me, a lifelong, life spent collecting novels. Sometimes I'd have to negotiate with people to get these novels, these books, auctions. I found one at a garage sale, which was like a 1 in a million shot. It's like literally like a $500 novel, out of print for like 20 years, that I found that it was a Warhammer 40K one. Um, but yeah, it's just, where does it all go? The day that I pass away, where does it all go? Um, Getting a little bit off topic, so let me get more focused back on about Vietnam though. Another mistake that I have made is not knowing when enough is enough. Okay, because I'm a very prideful person. Now this could be, um, I don't know if this is a me thing or if this would be that others would suffer this thing too. Okay, so as you know, anybody who's subscribed to my channel or been on my channel, I started in La Cai, Vietnam, right? That's where my first teaching spot was. And I stayed there for year after year, and I fought for that to stay there through a company that stole money, through HR liars that would steal my passports, through companies that wouldn't pay me, or just like the horrible things that I went through just to keep. And there's a billion places that I could go to. You know, with my education, I have several different. I have two degrees. So I have my associates, a bachelor's. I have my TEFL. So I mean, I'm trice qualified, and I have experience education, with experience in other things. I'm very highly qualified. Um, American accent, yeah, I have a little bit of a country accent, but point being is, um, I could work at any school, pretty much. I'm not too old. I'm relatively in good shape. Throw on a tie, it wouldn't be hard for me to get a job. Yeah, I fought so hard for this little small tier 3, tier 4 city, to the part where I look back now like, why? Why did I, was it just stubborn pride? Was it just because I didn't want to let anybody think that like I gave up or I was beaten, or is it just fear of change, or is it still just um, I don't know. I guess I'll never know why. But the point is though is that I wasted time though. I came here in my mid 30s, and now I'm in my 40s, and I feel like I've only just began. This is a huge world, and I've only begun. I've only begun with Southeast Asia. Like so time is not a luxury that I have, and my health is not. So my mistake was being is look, I should have just done. Um, a new rule is every year, every 2 years, depending. Even if you get happy, if you get comfortable, challenge yourself and move on to another spot. If you come to the other side of the world, you don't come just to stay in one spot. Yes, that gave me a very insightful and detailed perspective and insightful. Like I could tell you more about Lakai and Sapa and northern Vietnam than pretty much any other Westerner. That's how I built my whole entire YouTube channel. Is look, I'm the one guy who spent half a decade actually in this place that most people just pass through. Like most tourists stay there for a day. I stayed there for 5 years. I probably would have stayed there longer if not for this piece of shit HR guy. Um, Maybe it was a blessing in disguise, and I think there was other reasons too. My health, things, other stuff too. I always like to just dog on that guy just because yeah, he's a. It's just funny to me, but anger is useful. Hate, anger, spitefulness, like look, fear is useful, anger is useful, all that stuff is useful. But anyways, we're not on that kind of luxury either. So, point being is, if you travel the world, don't get stuck. Okay, it's so easy to get stuck. So you go to your first spot. You go to Thailand, for example. Okay, boom, you're stuck. You come here to Vietnam. You go to Da Nang. Boom, you get stuck. Push yourself, keep going. I wish I wouldn't have made that mistake. I wish I should have had 10 different cities, villages, provinces under my belt by now. Or is it better that I could say that I am a master of knowledge. Like I have lived as as a Vietnamese Lao Caian, or somebody from Sapa. I've lived like the ethnic. I could say that I have lived Vietnamese, not in the city. Like so, it's one of those one of those things I have to get back to. You decide. You decide. But at some point, do move. Another thing too was and this one is not so much my fault as it is. Okay, yes, sometimes in your life you're never gonna have a choice. Sometimes in your life you're just gonna have to go hungry. You're gonna go to bed hungry, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you're just gonna feel that pain. You're gonna hear your stomach grumble, and you're gonna have that headache, and you're not gonna sleep, and you're just gonna look at the clock, knowing that work's coming or this coming, right? And what do? You're on the other side of the world. There's no one you could call. You can't go home. What home? A parking lot at some Walmart, homeless, sleeping in a car that I doubt works. 5 years later, like, no, like this was a one-way ticket, for better or worse. I have to make it here. Um, but I I always took the path of least resistance, sometimes out of survival, meaning like, hey, look, I needed the cheapest meal that I could eat once a day. So that might be like a banh mi sandwich for 25,000 dong, so $1, pretty much $1, and that was all I would eat when didn't have money. When literally schools would give me 6 hours per week for work, and I had to try to figure out how to pay rent and eat for an entire month, and all this, like I've been used and abused a lot. But like I said, I learned a lot from it, and I could have left at any time. Maybe, I don't know. It's complicated, guys. My story, I put it here. You take from it how you want, or if I made the right decisions, if I was wrong. I don't know. Point being though is the damage of starving yourself now is the point that I started to like it. I was getting too thin. I was getting to the point where I understand now where um, I couldn't eat. So then I tried to trick myself into thinking that I enjoyed that pain. I've gained, since then I've gained a little bit more weight back. You can see in my face, I'm a little bit more healthier looking. But like at one point, I was down and I was dropping, like lost 100 pounds. Like um, I was bone, you know. Some of that is healthy lifestyle choices. Some of that is lack of sleep, mental health, you know, and other stuff. I wish that I would have just added in oranges, fruits, vegetables, things that I always avoid, things that they always tell you to do. Just do it. Just do it. You could get an orange here for freaking a quarter. You know, a bag of oranges for 50 cents. You can get 150 eggs for $2. Not even kidding. I mean, the prices here are so affordable in comparison to back in my home country. Another thing that I wish I would have done is um, the nail that sticks out gets hammered in, and I've always had a problem with conformity. I've always had a problem with authority. If somebody is, if I perceive somebody as look like you've not earned my respect, you've not given me respect. Like who are you to? And you're like 20 years younger than me. And you've not lived a day in a life in my shoes. You've not had one pinky's worth of like life experiences as me. Am I supposed to take orders from you? Are you serious? Like no, I really really have a problem with that. Like I don't take orders from kids. I don't take orders from people who get their jobs because their mommy and daddies were powerful, and unfortunately that happens a lot in the school systems. And that always would put me at odds with HRs and stuff like that. Because look, I'm not afraid of of a boss. I, I I will call you out on your BS. I will put you if you want to have a power play. Okay, like you think you know suffering, you think you know power or the lack of, you think you know desperation, you think you know pain, you think you know anything. I bet you I could triple it, thrice it. I bet you I could. If you want to trade stories, if you want to measure our this and that, okay. Or if you just want to test our resolve, okay. Just don't go peeing on my shoes and call it rain. Because if you do that, you know what? I'm going to take it personal. Vietnamese culture is very turn the cheek. Asian culture is very turn the cheek. American culture is very violent. And I've been able to, keep myself out of trouble, obviously. Um, you have to. You have to. You can't settle things here like you might in the West. You don't want to get kicked out of your country. You don't want to. You are a guest of another country. You abide by their laws, even if the people are breaking them by the way they treat you. You have to be the bigger man. It's a hard lesson to learn, but if you're a guy, or a strong-willed, individual, man or woman, doesn't matter. It's just, and for women, I imagine, like, it's I can't speak for women that come out here, but I imagine, it could be hard for you because there could be, what's the word for it? Guys being, uh, I don't buy in. I'm not into all that name calling stuff, but I see it. I see how women are treated out here, and it's, you um, like it's not how I treat women. I treat women with respect. Coworker, if you're just a stranger, or if you're a colleague, whatever. But cultural things. And where we at 30 minutes. Let's just say that my biggest regret will always be that I've not seen my family. I've not seen my family, and a big part of that is because I couldn't. Do you know how expensive it is to go home, even if I wanted to. That was one point. Two, when you're working, as a teacher, right? Like, try and you're getting fired from job to job, and everything is just going bad. Like, how are you supposed to, like, get a month off, 2 months, 3 months off to go home? But the problem is like, I looked at my family now, and they all look different. Not a single person looks the same. Everybody has aged. Even me. I look at myself and how much I've aged. You know, we've all gotten old, and I've went too many years without seeing. So let me give you the best advice that I can ever give. If you come overseas and live this lifestyle, find a way to come home at least every once a year, or at the very least every once every twice, every 2 years. Don't wait half a decade. Don't don't let your family something happen to your family and then it's too late. I can't get the time back. Like I said, I make no apologies for who I am, and I knew that what I would have to sacrifice for this dream, but it doesn't have to be so. It doesn't have to be so brutal on you. You don't have to lose touch with you know a lot of Christmases, a lot of birthdays, a lot of Halloweens that you know. But I've been so busy just trying to survive. When you're so busy just trying to get a meal, how can you think about how the hell you can get a visa, travel visa, airline ticket? Like, I get it, life's hard, but just find a way. Find a way. You get one life, you get one chance, you get one family. And if this is your dream, like it's my dream, being overseas is my dream, right? And it is the only thing that is keeping me alive. I'll just leave it at that. It is the one thing keeping me going. It is my. There was nothing left for me back home. This is it. Make it or break it. It happens here. I succeed. I fail, but it happens overseas. I will. I will. It happens here. Win or lose, it happens here. But I need to find a way home and see my family. So I hope that you will do the same if you come live this life. Also, last advice for any of you guys dating. All right, if you try dating a Vietnamese woman, is like, look, the cultural differences is going to be challenging. I'm not going to deny. I know get into my personal business, but I will say this: don't ever don't ever compromise on your cultural or your convictions because you feel like it's being rude. For example, okay, I don't know how many of you agree with me or not, but, like, for example, like, say that you come from a culture where, you know certain norms. There's certain norms that don't happen in a relationship, or that do happen in a relationship, and that maybe it's different from here. If it bothers you, speak up, or if vice versa, have you know, don't think that just because you're in a different country that you can't, set your boundaries and your convictions. Like, don't, or your relationship will fail. You have to be true to yourself and be willing to risk everything for the sake of just just transparency, putting it off, putting it forward. It's best to get it out of the way. Look, this is who I am. These are my boundaries. This is what I want in a relationship. I don't tolerate this. I don't do this myself. This is what I want. This is what I'm hoping. These are my goals. This is my aspirations. This is my dreams. Um, I don't drink. I don't want a girl who drinks. I don't, this. I don't want a girl who does this. I'm looking to do this. Are you, how do you feel about that? You need to have those talks. Don't come out here just, you know, if you're a young guy too, like these girls, women, I say girls, but these women, like treat them with respect, represent your country and treat yourself and your country, represent it good. They're not, especially like, some of these, the northern country, girls, ones that are just all, in Saigon or something, like your cultures are going to be radically different, and you need to be the best possible version of yourself, even if you are struggling through some of the most horrible things that you can. If you're going to try to go down that road, be honest. So, alright, so I don't know if this video has any worth. Hope it does. In summary, fight the good fight. Never compromise on your dreams. Be transparent. See your family. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't take crap from anybody. And if you gotta go out, if your time is up, then go out fighting. Don't go quietly into the night. Once more into the fray. And my fray is on the other side of the world, facing the wolf second the gray. I'm Liam Neeson, tying the bottles to my fist, getting ready to fight that wolf, which is life or death. Live and die on this day. Live and die on this day. The last good fight I'll ever know. And this is the last good fight I think that I'll ever know. Alright. I hope there's some value in this video. Bye.